It has been approximately a decade since the events I am about to recount took place, yet the memories remain vivid in my mind. It is important to note that the following account is solely from my perspective, as my mother's recollection of the events is not as clear as mine. For context, this story unfolds in a mid-sized city in the southern region of the United States, where at that time, the primary recreational activity was frequenting the local mall. While there were a couple of movie theaters and bowling alleys scattered around, the mall served as the main attraction, with limited options beyond its premises. My mother was employed at a department store situated within the mall, and with no better alternative, I often found myself accompanying her to work, retreating to the break room while she fulfilled her duties. This routine provided me with an opportunity to step out of the house, and if I so desired, I could wander through the mall or indulge in a snack from the food court. However, being an introverted individual, I typically opted to confine myself within the break room, engrossed in video games on my trusty Nintendo 3DS. The colleagues of my mother were consistently kind to me, frequently popping in to greet me or inquire about my well-being during lulls in their own work. On weekends, if fortune smiled upon me, I would manage to convince my mother to escort my friend along with us. Although we were actually dating, I preferred to keep our relationship discreet due to societal norms and our shared gender. Visiting the mall presented an escape from household chores, and it offered us an affordable opportunity for secret dates. Nevertheless, my girlfriend did not particularly enjoy lingering in the break room. She always preferred perusing the mall. It is worth mentioning that she possessed a fondness for taking strolls, so her inclination to wander within the mall was not out of the ordinary. Conversely, I found walking less appealing than she did, thus making every effort to evade such excursions whenever possible. While I could occasionally persuade her to merely visit a nearby store or grab a bite from the food court instead of engaging in extensive walks, I soon realized that her aversion to the break room was not due to a desire for physical movement. Being more observant than I, my girlfriend detected something amiss in that room's atmosphere. Intrigued, I assumed she might mention the cramped space or the disconcerting instances when the lights would abruptly flicker, as these were aspects that unsettled me as well. However, her revelation differed. She disclosed hearing unsettling sounds emanating from the ceiling, as though someone were traversing that hidden area above us. I had previously learned from my mother that a maintenance room existed within the ceiling, housing mostly wiring and insulation. While it was unlikely for anyone to be up there, I assured my girlfriend that it was likely an employee conducting repairs. Although she accepted my explanation, her discomfort persisted, and she continued to express a preference for exploring the mall or relaxing in the food court. Understanding her unease, I agreed to accommodate her wishes. Our relationship was built on effective communication, and despite my initial frustration, it was crucial to me that she felt at ease. Later that day, I shared my girlfriend's concerns with my mother, inquiring about the nature of the repairs being done in the ceiling. To my dismay, my mother appeared distressed and admitted that no maintenance work had taken place that day. However, she felt compelled to show me something. Leading me to the department store's receiving room, a space filled with boxes and miscellaneous items intended for sale, my mother revealed the layout of the room. It formed an L shape, with one section designated for receiving and the other serving as an access point to the ceiling. Allow me to clarify that gaining entry to the ceiling required summoning the mall's maintenance team, as the store did not possess a ladder or any equipment suitable for safely ascending. The only feature present in this particular area was a hatch leading directly into the ceiling. Consequently, I was horrified to discover what appeared to be claw marks etched into the concrete wall, ascending towards the hatch. I distinctly recall the sight of those brown gashes, deeply engraved into the receiving room's wall. I inquired if it was some sort of prank, but my mother responded with a distressed tone, informing me that this was not the first occurrence. These peculiar carvings had manifested multiple times over a span of several months. On each occasion, the store would alert the mall's security and maintenance teams, who would diligently cleanse the wall and investigate the ceiling. Yet their searches yielded no results, and eventually they abandoned their efforts to address the mysterious markings. The only explanation offered by mall security was that a homeless individual, driven by sheer determination, had managed to infiltrate the ceiling and had become adept at evading detection during the searches. Following this revelation, Following this revelation, I made the decision to refrain from staying in the mall's break room with my mother. Whenever my girlfriend wished to visit, we sought alternative locations during the day. Sometimes, she would come over to my house, and we would spend time together watching television or engaging in other activities. However, the unsettling incident in the break room had left me with a sense of unease, and I did not feel safe returning to that space. While nothing untoward had occurred up until that point, I chose not to take any unnecessary risks. To the individual or entity that was navigating the ceiling of my mother's workplace, let us never cross paths. As the days went by, the incident in the break room continued to weigh heavily on my mind. I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched or the sense of unease that had settled within me. It was as if the eyes of an unseen presence were constantly fixed upon me. Determined to find answers and regain a sense of security, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I began conducting my own investigation, searching for any clues or information that could shed light on the mysterious intruder. I started by observing the behavior of my colleagues and the mall's visitors. I paid attention to any suspicious or unusual activities, trying to decipher if there was a connection to what happened in the break room. I discreetly questioned some of my coworkers, but nobody seemed to have noticed anything out of the ordinary. Frustration started to set in as my search yielded no concrete leads. However, I refused to give up. I decided to dig deeper and explore other possibilities. One evening, as I was browsing through the mall's security footage, a particular video caught my attention. It showed a figure in dark clothing moving swiftly through the mall's corridors and disappearing into the shadows. It was difficult to make out any distinguishing features, but there was something about their movements that seemed familiar. I couldn't help but think back to the incident in the break room and wondered if this figure could be the same intruder. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I decided to share the footage with the mall's security team and the local authorities. Together, we analyzed the footage, trying to uncover any clues that could lead us to the identity of this mysterious individual. We enhanced the video, zoomed in on certain areas, and cross-referenced it with other security footage from around the mall. Days turned into weeks, and our investigation intensified. Finally, a breakthrough came when we identified a pattern in the intruder's movements. It seemed that they were targeting specific areas of the mall, including the break room. This discovery led us to believe that this was not a random act, but a deliberate act of sabotage. With this new information, we increased security measures in those targeted areas and set up surveillance teams to monitor the suspect's movements. We also enlisted the help of a private investigator to assist us in identifying the individual's motive. After several weeks of heightened security and investigation, we finally caught the intruder in the act. To our surprise, it turned out to be someone familiar. A disgruntled former employee seeking revenge against the mall for what they perceived as unjust treatment during their employment. With the culprit apprehended, a sense of relief washed over me. The mall's management took steps to ensure the safety and security of all employees and visitors, implementing stricter access controls and surveillance systems. As life returned to normal, I couldn't help but reflect on the importance of vigilance and the power of perseverance. The incident had taught me to trust my instincts, take action when necessary, and never underestimate the value of a thorough investigation. From that day forward, I made a promise to myself to always remain aware of my surroundings and to prioritize the safety and well-being of myself and those around me. And, as for the mall's break room, it became a place of caution and vigilance, reminding me of the importance of security in even the most unexpected of places.